display pilots with them, and it's proved possible to give them both a slot. And I think next we have these. And there's also the NFH, the NATO frigate helicopter, which we see in the static park from the Royal Netherlands Air Force. And the NFH provides the basis of further specialised versions, which are helicopter. And once the NH-90 reaches the apex of that climb, it's into a pretty much 90-degree nose down. A wing over to the left. This will be followed by two flight pasts, punctuated by what they're calling a pop-up, where they will go from 200 to 700 feet and back down to 200 again. And of course, all of these manoeuvres are
cutting-edge digital flight system. Just a transport aircraft, it's a machine capable of pulling off maneuvers you'd never expect from its class. Barrel rolls, tight turns, high cheek climbs, even a full loop. Well, the Spartan does it all. Further, think of it as the smaller sibling of the C-130 Hercules, but leaner, more versatile, more cost efficient, and thanks to broad interoperability, it slots right in alongside a whole range of other aircraft. Senza alternò.
Everything is ready, so get ready to welcome Frecce Tricolori 2025. The first maneuver of our program, green, white and red. This is the only maneuver where all 9 MB-39ers are within the same formation. The next will be the first and only separation where the formation is going to split into 3 sections. How to perform a roll with 8 aircraft. Flight path like drawing the antenna of a giant barrel. It looks like just one huge airplane is performing the maneuver, but each aircraft in this moment is following a different line in order to maintain white smoke, inverted flight, roll at the display center and reverse again. It's correct, the technical features of our Oscar Del Do and Pony 5, Captain Leonardo Leo start rolling at the same time and reposition in second wing at the back of the formation. 10 feet over the field at the top of this maneuver, ready to give once again the stage to the solo pilot. On the right with his slow roll. A nice skill maneuver is exalting pilot capability of coordinated flight controls, cloche and rudder pedals and to maintain the uniform. Another barrel roll for the 8th aircraft of the main group. This time it will be a right-handed roll performed in a configuration increasing considerably the difficulty of execution of this maneuver. Rotates gently around this axis as if it were a single giant airlifter along about 200 feet. Roll from the voice of Major Luigi Raspa. And Pony 3, Captain Giovanni Morello rolling around second wing and then again getting the original position while Ponies 4 and 5 roll around them. In the meanwhile, the solo right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the spectacular Frecce flight.
Shallow dive around 330 knots. Max rate turn. No wobbles, no waves, just a hard, snappy turn, locking in fly-by-wire control. Let's see the word upside down. Salita imperiale.
Josh up front will be giving voice marshal directions to Captain Cal, eventually talking him forwards and down onto the landing site and monitoring the height of the aircraft as she comes into land. Our crewman on the ramp today is flight. With the troops and quad bike now gone, the aircraft departs with an over-the-shoulder transition. This is a defensive manoeuvre presenting the armoured floor ballistic protection towards a probable enemy in the 12th pod. This gives the aircraft and any occupants the best possible chance of protection from any threats on the ground. Today, but Dave and Josh will be ready to employ the crew-served weapon systems. Extend their weapon arcs. The Chinook can be fitted with an M60 machine gun on the ramp and 2 M134 miniguns on the port and starboard sides. Each of these is capable of firing 3,000 rounds a minute. That's 50 rounds of its crew and enablers exclusively frontline units, with our roll demo activities conducted around our normal operational duty. It's thanks to the tireless work of the aircrew, engineers, ops, SES and all other supporting functions that have enabled the team to deliver this demo for you today, in addition to our normal business. come to an end, so before our final manoeuvre, we're going to see some constant flashing of the landing lamps by co-pilot CJ and a bow from the crew. There it is. We'll now watch the incredible Gorney climb. Named after the base in Bosnia where the Chinook demonstrated its incredible power, dominating other helicopter types during the Kosovo War. It's a max performance climb and will be followed today by a corkscrew departure.
And then accelerating a further 30 knots before lifting the nose wheel off to a max performance climb.
So we've got the undercarriage extended now, 14 wheels and tyres, optimised to allow the aircraft to operate from unprepared strips at high weights. Turboprop Franco-German Transall C-160 by the end of 2021, and they're now augmented in service by C-130J Hercules of a Franco-German binational air transport squadron at Évreux in France, one of which we've got here for the first time in the static park. Now accelerating in for a pass designed to simulate a visual check of a simulated drop zone at a speed up to 285 knots. Refueler to the top end of its speed regime and the receiver to the bottom end of its speed regime. Now how about this for a landing approach? Setting the aircraft up in a steep descent, and we'll see a full stop landing aided by the powerful automatic brakes. July, it confirmed that it was buying another dozen of them. It became a true export and production success story. And in 2024, it was in service with an amazing 35 countries, and 5,000 airframes have been produced since 1979, amassing over 15 million flying hours. Data link on the back of the airplane, a small satellite dish in that teardrop shape that takes the information that comes into the airplane and puts it through a satellite architecture to a ground station where they can disseminate the information to the appropriate commanders. Another unique thing that you're never going to see at another air show is a gear up pass. Area, and with the Merlin, it certainly is a demonstration there of a really rapid yaw rate.
The aircraft sits in front of you for what they call the Cardinal's public greeting. This will be followed by a max performance vertical climb. A 90-degree right turn. And a high performance 270-degree turn.
We see it with the weapons bay open, which isn't the configuration I've seen during a Poseidon flypast before. The Atlantique. And here, a really nice view of the upper surfaces.
in the loop from Swan into Shuttle. Reaching a height of over 6,000 feet, aircraft slowing now only to 120 miles an hour. The controls are a lot less restrictive. That speed now starting to build. 200, back to 300, back to 400 miles per hour as Red 1 brings them around to the left. To the left-hand side of that centre stem is Red 3 Frecce Andrew McEwen, known as Packer. From Reds 9 as Reds 8 and 9 roll around the rest of the formation, but watch for the colour change as Red 1 brings them down the line. In the corkscrew, and once again you can see us trailing off famous red, white and blue. Not only here at RIAT on the 5 and 6 seconds. Roll around the rest of the formation. In the corkscrew, and once again you can see us trailing off famous red, white and blue. Not only here at RIAT on the 5 and 6 seconds. Weighing 6 times heavier than you and I as we stand on the airfield. They're pulling hard against that G-pants. They cross. Not only that, we change from red to blue, blue to red. They keep that 6G turn on, red 7 in our left, maintaining that separation on red 6 to complete the manoeuvre called the Circus.
Simultaneously, in from the right then, the new Wedgetail AW1. But you get to see the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight Lancaster. here for the slow speed pass. This configured aircraft with its delta wing and canard is much more aerodynamically efficient at high alpha manoeuvres because both the wings and the canard are producing lift for the airframe. Very nicely on, 45 degrees to the crowd. Airspeed of about 110 knots. F86E Sabres. In comes the formation.
Oblivion. At first, he didn't even dare to hope it could fly again, but the challenge was enormous. Technical restoration and mountains of paperwork. But today, the result is right here in front of our eyes. Only a qualified test pilot can return it to the sky, and this pilot is Mauritian Federation.
Stingray torpedoes, the 12.7mm caliber M3M machine gun mounted in the cabin, and the Marklet and Sea Venom maritime missiles. Here they are heading back in towards us, this time pulling up into a line abreast climb to 500 feet. Nosing over shortly into a descending 360-degree turn. For the Army and 28 for the Royal Navy to replace the Lynx in service with both arms. The Army variant is known as the AH-1 and is primarily used for battlefield reconnaissance and transport. The Navy version is also used in the transport role, but is primarily for anti-surface warfare when operating from other naval vessels. A rearwards climb away now, a rearwards transition, more formally, into a bow, recovering at 100 feet. Another rearwards transition as they head away from us. They'll be performing an over-the-shoulder transition out of that. There they go. And then getting back into line of stern formation. Capturing the display line at 230 metres for the slow flight past.